Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
The Stock Movers Podcast, your roundup of companies making moves in the stock market, harnessing the power of Bloomberg data.
Let's take a look at some of the stocks on the move today. I'm Paul Sweeney along with John Tucker, and we're joined by Bloomberg's Jess Madden. Jess, what are you looking at today?
I wanted to point out what's going on in retail because I feel like so many times when we have these companies come out, it's kind of a tale of two different stories depending on which retailer we're talking about. So I wanted to start with Ulta Beauty. ULTA is the ticker symbol on this, up about 15% on pace for its best day since April 2020 there. So quite the move there, and it's atop the leaderboard when you're looking at the S&P 500. So the best performer today. So if you're looking at that, of course, a cosmetics retailer, it actually jumped on a profit forecast that was boosted. And also analysts are flagging some of that strong execution at the company, with Citi analysts also noting that some of the competitive pressures from its new points of distribution, say like Sephora, is beginning to abate there. So looking at that A&R function, I know that Paul Sweeney likes to keep an eye on here when you're looking at those sell side recommendations. So 16 buys, 13 holds, 2 sells so far. But then also if you move over and you look at apparel, specifically looking at Gap, which reported earnings after the bell yesterday, that stock's down over 20% this morning alone. So it's erased its year-to-date gains, and it's also its biggest drop as far as where it's at today if it goes through the close since November of 2021 there. So if you're looking, also, unfortunately, we've talked so much about tariffs tied to the consumer. So Gap was warning, and it did predict that a tariff impact of as much as $300 million could impact the company this year, and it revealed some of that stubborn weakness at two of its smaller brands when it comes to Banana Republic as well as Athletica.
Have you ever heard of the lipstick index?
Of course, it's a key crucial tie to the economy. It was a little tricky though during COVID, during the pandemic, because everyone was stuck at home, so it wasn't
like Ulta. Well,
right.
The CEO, I love this quote
Right.
from the CEO. Many consumers indicate they're leaning into beauty as a comfort and escape.
Well, it's also one of those things that people view as recession-proof, because no matter, and then also that's something when I've talked to portfolio managers about with, say, Estee Lauder and different companies like that, even though they've had some issues with their exposures overseas, taking some hits there, a lot of times they own those stocks because they view them as, regardless of what the cycles are in the economy, women and others that are, buying some of these beauty products, they're going to continue to do so.
So when you see macro uncertainty, do you say to yourself, I'm going to go get some eyeliner? I mean, that's what the CEO is pretty much saying.
I mean, I'm still, purchasing makeup.
Cooper Companies, what's going on with Cooper
Paul's
Companies?
over it. He wants to move on to Cooper Companies. So this is a medical device company. It's headquartered in California. So if you look at this, it's actually one of the worst performers in the S&P 500, if you're looking at that today too. So it has a market cap over $10 billion, but it's down 12%. COO is the ticker symbol for Cooper Companies. So it's on pace for its worst drop since March of 2020. Obviously, that was the height of when the pandemic started there. So actually what happened here, it cut its organic growth outlook. So that's the problem that's really weighing on the stock right now too. And of course, it's also a contact lens maker, and that's why people are watching it pretty closely. Exactly. So that's why you've heard that name, if it does sound familiar. So it reported better than expected results for the second quarter, but that disappointing guidance ended up spurring a downgrade by JPMorgan right now. So they actually cut their target to neutral from overweight. The price target is $76. Previously was $110.
Regeneron Pharmaceuticals.
Yes, so this one is also actually the worst performer in the S&P 500 this morning too. So REGN is the ticker symbol for Regeneron Pharmaceuticals, down 17% at this point this morning, on pace for its worst day since April of 2011 there. So that's quite the drop when you're looking at that. And also this happens to happen when it actually had an uneven smoker's lung drug data trial here. And that's why you're seeing that, as well as if you're moving over and just looking at the not even just healthcare index in the S&P 500, but also specifically when it comes to pharmaceutical stocks, that's weighing more broadly on those shares this morning.
The Stock Movers Podcast from Bloomberg Radio. Check back with us throughout the day for the latest roundup of companies making news on Wall Street. And for the latest market-moving headlines, listen to Bloomberg Radio live. Catch us on YouTube, Bloomberg.com, and on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with the Bloomberg Business app.